morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lovers of sports all over the world. I welcome you to Redeem Sports at the King's Palace TV. We are discussing Afcon 2021 playing in 2022. My name is Tunde Badru. I'll be your host. And with me in the studio, co-hosting with me is
Dimeji Oladele.
Dimeji, it's been a great time at Afcon 2021 in Cameroon. I mean, we've seen a lot of drama, we've seen a lot of twists, a lot of turns. I mean, this Afcon, and we've seen a coach sent out, of the field, the red card in the second semi-final between Cameroon, the host country, and Egypt. We've seen a defender, moving to the goalpost. I don't think I've seen that before in any Afcon or heard of anyone like that.
That's never happened.
We've seen, a Senegal team, for example, that scored only one goal in the group stages, and now they are going to be playing in the final. It's been a great one. What do you think, Dimeji?
I think you said it all. The twists and turns have never been seen before, especially giving a coach the red card before the final game. I mean, that makes it more interesting.
Absolutely. Well, I will not be doing this alone, and not Dimeji and I alone. We have two gentlemen with us in the studio, one of them a coach. Ex-international for Super Eagles of Nigeria, Coach Ade, you're welcome to Redeem Sports at the King's Palace TV.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Coach Ade played back in the days for Super Eagles of Nigeria. He went by the name Victor Gusoya in those days, but now he coaches young people. Coach, what is it about young people versus the elderly ones? You're so passionate about coaching the younger ones than the older ones. Tell us about it.
You know the young ones that are tomorrow. And
Absolutely.
Without the young one, there is no way we can get the future. So that's why I love to coach young ones.
Absolutely. Yeah, we welcome you to the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Well, to my far left is someone who loves the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Super Eagles of Nigeria broke his heart when they lost to Tunisia in the round of 16. I don't know who is going to be supporting between Senegal and Egypt, but that's not the question right now. I want to welcome to the studio Tunde Alamaro. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, Dimeji, before we dive into the analysis of the final between Senegal and Egypt, it seems like it's the final of Liverpool.
Yes.
Because we are having Sadio Mane from Liverpool playing for Senegal, and then we are having Mo Salah, Liverpool, playing for Egypt. What do you think?
I think this is going to extend beyond Afcon. It's going to be who owns the bragging rights in the locker room. So that's what it boils down to. When we play, we'll get back to our clubs in the locker room. We'll know who owns the bragging rights.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, lovers of sports, go nowhere. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll dive straight into the analysis.
Redeemer Sports Ministry presents its Sports League. Spring season runs from February to May. Summer season runs from June to August. Fall season runs from August to December. Registration will run from January 10th to February 18th. Soccer for children. Ages 4 to 17, basketball for children. Ages 5 to 17, volleyball for girls. Ages 9 to 17, ping pong for adults only, males and females. The venue is the Redeemed Christian Church of God Sports Arena, 5371 East 5th Street, Katy, Texas 77493. Visit our website at theredeemersports.org. You can also contact us at 832-384-5240 or email us at info@theredeemersports.org for more information. Register today to be a part of this enriching experience. God bless you.
You're welcome back, and it's Redeem Sports at the King's Palace TV, and we are discussing Afcon 21, the final match between Senegal and Egypt. Tonight, it has to be a question.
Okay.
This Afcon has been full of surprises, and I think there are many life lessons that we could pick with everything that has happened? What will be your top 2 life lessons from this Afcon?
Well, number 1 will be the race obviously is not to the swift. And number 2, and I think I should address everyone on this. In life, if you must start a thing, when you start, it's not just about starting. Stay focused, make sure you're consistent, and finish strong. That's important.
Thank you very much. True. Life lessons. All right, Coach. You are 60 now, and you've seen a lot in your lifetime.
Lots of lessons.
A lot of lessons. So, looking at this Afcon and all that has happened, what would be life lessons that you could draw out of this time?
I think the life lesson I can draw out of this is that as a coach, I'll put myself as a coach, which I do all the time, is that when you start a season or you start a tournament, don't put yourself that, oh, I'm going to win this tournament. You have the confidence behind you, but when you're going to do it, you have to do it on the field. And you don't let people drag you to that you are the best, when you haven't finished the race. You have to make sure you do the job and complete it before you know you are the best.
Absolutely. No, walk the talk. Don't just talk about it. Go right there and do it. Dumeji, before you take the next question, I mean, I'm sure it's not about opinion on the final game, but it's about life lessons. What do you think?
Well, for me, just like you said, I'll add to that. The stone that the builders have rejected has become the chief cornerstone. So again, you can't, it's being a tournament of surprises. Yeah. So you literally can't look down on anybody. And so my life lesson for that is, don't look down on anyone, because you just never know.
Absolutely. All right, over to you then.
All right, so I'll kick it off. Unfortunately, your dearly beloved Super Eagles have been knocked out. And there's been a lot of twists and turns, like my co-host have said, in this tournament. For you, which teams have been more upsetting to you to see that they've left the tournament? And also, what are the life lessons that those teams, especially the players, what lessons should they take going forward, especially preparing for future games, and in this case, the World Cup coming up in Qatar?
I'm scared to say that probably the Super Eagles of Nigeria are lucky at the group stage, but I'm sure they weren't. Then I think I also going to put this to Dimeji. Remember in the last meeting we had, you said you probably even prophesied these Super Eagles feeling. So
winning 3 in a row.
So the thing is that if you look at the case of Super Eagles, for me it's Super Eagles of Nigeria and of course Ghana. But Super Eagles, everybody expected that. I was watching, I think about 3 or 4 days ago, Mohamed Salah was saying if there was anything that he was so shocked to have left this tournament, was actually Nigeria. And it's obvious that we had a lot of issues as a country even before this tournament. So my advice would be that I hope they're able to learn a lot from this and actually stabilize. Because going into this tournament, I'm sure a month before, Eguavon didn't know he was even going to be the coach of the Super Eagles. But we thank God for everything anyway. I was really, really hot because it was a cheap loss, a very cheap loss. But all the same, obviously, that Afcon is no longer like, it's something that everybody wants to actually look up on now. It's not the same way it used to be anymore. So I think going to Afcons now, anyone who is, if you are qualified, if you find yourself, if you're opportunity to be part of this tournament, then you better take it seriously. That's what I want to say.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Coach Ade, you've been on teams that have won and have lost, and in some cases maybe qualifying matches. What is your advice to those players, especially as they prepare for future games? And like I said to him, tournament, the World Cup is coming. What lessons can they learn, both the coaches and even the players for future games?
The last time I made mention about everything starts from home.
Correct.
And you said we don't want to discuss our politics of sports. If you're not prepared very well before you get to the competition, no matter how good your team is, it's going to affect them.
Absolutely.
When you get in a coach, right when they already qualify for the stuff, and you are telling the coach, just go and try this. If you do very well, we might keep you for the World Cup. It's not good for the team. And also for the players. Most of the players come from outside the country to play. And when they get there and they see the organization is not well prepared, they will try their best, and which they did. They play very good. But the management part of it did not support them the way they're supposed to be. So it's going to affect them also. So that's what I see in this, what happened to Green Eagles.
So you're saying there's a lot more on the management side than the players? Because these players are professionals in their various leagues or clubs where they play, but it has a lot more to do on the management of the team.
Yeah, if you're a professional, you want to play the game. No matter what, it's going to affect your mentality. When you see the management are not doing the right things they're supposed to do, they bring a coach. There's a coach coaching them before the Nations Cup. They bring a new coach, and that's supposed to affect the professional. But guess what? When they get to the field and see this is a coach they can play for, they give their best to play. But overall, I can know that most of the management part of it affect them to do the best.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, but I know we're not talking about Super Eagles in Nigeria, but I hear you guys. I mean, management becomes very important in this tournament. I think Ghana suffered the same fate. I mean, they fired the indigenous coach and brought in this Milo or so. I think that's his name. They brought him in, managed to qualify them for the World Cup, but then took them to Afcon, and then couldn't get out of the group stages. Management certainly have a way of impacting the performance and the mentality of the team. But again, we'll take a short break, we'll come back, and then it will be time to discuss Egypt and Senegal. We are done talking about Ghana, about Super Eagles. We must then face the final match between Senegal and Egypt. Viewers, go nowhere. We'll be back shortly after this break.
Due to the COVID pandemic, the Maracana Sports Center had been put on hold, but now we are back. Our sports outreach church, the Maracana Sports Center, resumes on Sunday 6th of February 2022 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Maracana Sports Center is our sports outreach church reaching out to the community fellowshipping through sports and the Word of God. Sports service holds every Sunday at 6 p.m. on the TKP Sports Arena. So we are inviting men, women, boys and girls across all ages to come and hang out and play all sporting activities while connecting with friends and families. Join us starting February 6, 2022. For more information, please call Coach Addy at 832-731-7714.
Welcome back, and it's Redeem Sports at the King's Palace TV. We are discussing the final match of Afcon 2021 between Egypt and Senegal. Coach, it's your question. What is it that makes a team that struggles so badly in the group stages to now be fired up in the knockout stages? Senegal scored only one goal in the group stages. I mean, Egypt lost their first match, to Nigeria. They struggled against Sudan, struggled against Guinea-Bissau. But these two struggling that struggled through the group stages are both in the final. What fired them up? Why struggle in the group stages and then fired up in knockout stages?
I mean, I'll bring it back as a coach because I've faced something like this before coaching. At the beginning of the tournament, you might see your players are not getting themselves very right. Why you go back to the board in practice? You say the first game we tied the game, where the second game we lost the game. By the time they see that they get 1 point or 2 points to qualify them for the round 16, the energy will come up, the tactics will come up, and they believe themselves we can do better. If we can get to this stage, let's go. And that energy will come to them, and they will just put everything in place. And that time they say, listen, we have nothing to lose. Let's continue doing it. And that gives them more motivation to continue playing.
Okay. So, I mean, at some point, we weren't even sure if Senegal will qualify. I mean, the way they were playing, they were not enterprising. Mane was marked down in most of the game. Egypt played against Nigeria. You could count how many times Mo Salah touched the ball, etc. And we're almost saying, well, I think they will go home, very soon. But hey, we're wrong. Senegal is in the final. Egypt in the final. What happened?
Well, I think, like I said, they were consistent from the beginning. At some point, my son asked me yesterday while we were watching the penalties between, what's it called? Cameroon and Egypt. And he said, Dad, I thought you said Nigeria beat Egypt. I said, yes. So why is Egypt in the finals? And I said, well, that's how it is, soccer. He said, "Oh, okay. So who is the coach of Nigeria?" Okay, so I knew what he was trying to say there. Could this be a coach thing? So I'm sure that the entire team, the coach and the players knew that. Look, honestly, if Nigeria had won, maybe if we had struggled out of the group stage, we would have been much more serious. Now these guys came into the game and they were just completely different. So I give it to Senegal and to to Egypt for doing such a great job. They were consistent. They knew that, look, I'm sure many were like, hey, I play for Liverpool. I cannot come and disgrace my entire nation. And of course, even though both of them, in fact, Mohamed, it wasn't the same Mohamed Salah because it was like everything he was doing in Europe was just a fluke because he was completely marked out in this tournament. But they just stayed consistent.
And I think, I cannot agree anymore with you. I mean, I guess it was 2019 edition. Nigeria won marginally in their first game. I remember they lost their last game to Madagascar 2-0.
Yep.
And everybody said, oh, they're coming back home. In 2013, when they won, they struggled in their first two matches. They had to have two penalty shootouts to beat Ethiopia to qualify for the round of 16. In fact, they bought their ticket already because they now had to face, I think it was Cote d'Ivoire, in the round of 16. I said, no, there's no way. I mean, you struggled against Ethiopia. How are you going to beat Cote d'Ivoire? And then they went ahead, beat Cote d'Ivoire, beat, I believe it was Mali at some point, and then they went ahead to the final and they were Burkina Faso. I think when you struggle a little bit sometimes there's a way you file up, into the tournament. Well, we'll take that. Dimeji.
Next question is for you, Tane. We see that Sadio Mane actually, he suffered a concussion, but he came back. He did pretty well. I think he scored the third goal against Burkina Faso. And, Mo Salah has been an inspiration to the team. I mean, he's Mo Salah. So everybody, they know Mo Salah, and he's who he is. Now, the question now is, we have these two great stars, right, playing in the finals. Same locker room in the club sides, right, Liverpool. The question to me now is, will this finals be decided by the quality of these two players? Which, by the way, in my opinion, well, I'm not supposed to be. People say that Mo Salah hasn't been the best. You just said that, right? So will this game be decided by these two players, or will these players be marked down and the supporting crew or the no-name crew will actually step up to the game?
I think it's even more easier to mark down Mohamed Salah than even Sadio Mane because he has actually done so well. But the truth, I'm not sure today's final will be decided by both of them. I don't think so. It's a teamwork because we have seen obviously that these guys can actually be stopped, and because they are highly rated players in Europe, so there's so much on them in England, and they're like, oh, this is Mohamed Salah. I remember one of the guys during the the first game we had, Nigeria versus Egypt, and they interviewed I think the supporters club went around and were interviewing some. The guy said, are you sure this is the same Mohamed Salah we have been watching on TV? Because people expected more. But the fact that this is Afcon, it's a completely, look, those things we do in Europe, they'll tell you that is Europe, but this one, they don't have respect for any player. So that's one thing.
Awesome, thanks. Coach, like he said, a lot of players go into this competition trying to make a name for themselves. That's probably one of the reasons why stars like Mo Salah, according to him, have not shown or have not brought their best, or their best have been underscored because of the great defensive play by some of these opponents. In your opinion, is this going to be a showdown between these two great players, or they're going to be underdogs from each team that will carry the team to win the tournament?
One thing I'll let you know about superstars, when they play in the tournament, it's not that they're being marked out. They're using their leadership to make sure they do the right thing for their team. If they try to play the way they play in Europe, they even play worse. And most of the players that play alongside with them, they all play in Europe too. It's because you don't hear their name. That's why it's easier for a non-known player to play better in the tournament than a known player. And that known player doesn't mean he's not going to do well. He's doing the job he's supposed to do.
But coach, if you look at it, look at the likes of Messi, look at the likes of Ronaldo. When they get to the World Cup, they expect those stars to deliver goals, right? We know their coach. I mean, you can play a leadership role, but they expect you to deliver, and deliver means winning games and scoring goals. So I kind of beg to differ a little bit. Shed light on that. Why are star players expected to score goals, but then on the flip side, they just deliver the leadership qualities without scoring goals? Is that acceptable?
But you can see that Salah scored goals, okay? He didn't score as much, but he did score goal. Even Sadio Mane scored goal, but he didn't score the way they expect him to score. But what I'm saying is that if you see Afcon compared to Copa America, compared to European League, it's totally different as a coach. Because Afcon, you can see quality of African players. If you go to Europe now, you see all these small European countries, you see Spain beat them 7-0, 6-0. It used to be like that in Africa. You can name Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, all these to be the last four, but it has changed because of development. Because most of the players in Africa now, I can say in that Afcon, 75% of them playing abroad. So that gives them more level to play, and that makes the Afcon to be more strong.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, well, Mane, Salah, we'll see. But I expect that, it will be a very, very difficult final for the two of them.
I think so too.
And whether it will make the difference, time will tell. But whether it's going to be difficult, I can assure you. The two of them will find the final very, very difficult.
And I think, sorry to chip in, I'm so proud of both of them being Africans.
Yeah.
So that's for me, taking that back to England or wherever. So and these are top guys even in England. Both of them made the short list for Ballon d'Or, right? Yeah. The both of them, yeah. So that's a good thing coming from Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Liverpool struggled a little bit without them.
They did struggle. They did struggle without them.
They did.
They did struggle without them.
Well, we're about to take another short break. We'll be right back. Going away.
It's a new year, it's a new month, and there is a new thing coming, and it's a great thing. It's about love, it's about family, it's about friends, and it's about brethren at our CCG, the King's Palace of Katy, Texas. Join us on Valentine's Day as we present the royal banquet and celebration of love amongst family, friends, and brethren. Date, Monday, February 14th, 2022. Time, 7 p.m. at the King's Palace Pavilion Event Center, 5371 East 5th Street, Katy, Texas, 77493. It's going to be a night full of fun, love, laughter, games, music, dancing, drama skits, engagements, and of course, a lot of food, plus a lot more good stuff. Prizes can be won, such as Best Dressed Couple, Best Dressed Single, Best Dancers, and many more. The door opens at 6:30 p.m. for cocktails, and the main event starts at 7 p.m. To attend, please complete the RSVP form via the link bit.ly/TKPLove or via the church website, rccgthekingspalace.org. Each member can invite up to 2 individual guests or 2 family guests to the banquet. The event is open to people ages 18 years and older, and we will provide childcare service for children ages 2 to 12. Hosts are Pastors Tunde and Shade Badaru. Jesus is Lord.
Welcome back, viewers, to Redeem Sports at King's Palace TV, where we're currently just analyzing the Afcon 2021 played in 2022. It's been an amazing time in the studios today with my co-host, Pastor Tunde Badru, and Coach Ade, and also his huge sports enthusiast and fan, Tunde Limero. Pastor, do you have any...
Oh, yes. I mean, our next question will be to Tunde Limero, and it has to do with VAR. Yeah, VAR has been a great addition to officiating, but it could also be very controversial. It's been responsible for many, red cards, called in this tournament. Whether it's a red card against your man Iwobi, or to, many other players in the tournament, where the referee had called for a yellow, and then VAR said no, it has to be red. What do you think? I mean, the VAR a blessing or not?
Well, I think it's a blessing in a way. Because the case of VAR is the case of Follow simple instructions, else your sins will find you out. So that's the case of. I think for me, the only issue I have with it, which is not a problem, it's the anxiety that it brings. I remember when one of keep going back to Super Eagles of Nigeria. When what's it called? Moses Simon dribbled and played a shot. I think the captain eventually scored that goal. We waited for 5 minutes, just waiting to hear. No, that was too much. So I think for me, and at times even these days when players even score, they keep looking at the referee to be sure is this a goal or not. So I think it's a blessing as long as players know what they do. It's going to minimize a lot of things for me.
Coach, what do you think? You're playing this, no VAR.
Coach, old school.
Now there's VAR. What do you think?
I mean, I can say it's a blessing in the sense that sometimes, you play a game that the referee messed it up, and now they can call it back and say, no, it's this and it's that. And also, I will let you know that it helps because some PK that the referee call or the referee decide, the VAR just say, no, it's not PK, and bring it back. And I'll bring it back. We don't talk about Nigeria, but in Nigerian game, there's a PK. But because we did not, our players so they did not just go for it, and because they started repeating that PK, but nobody said anything. But the VAR is supposed to call it back if they do the right job. But guess what? It's a blessing because I know it's helping the soccer.
Okay, isn't there some human dimension to the VAR as well? It's not just the machine. I mean, there are human beings there who makes it call. I remember, the incident coach was talking about a Tunisian player, touched the ball in the box or the ball hit his hand. The VAR caught it, saw it, they played it, but the referee's attention wasn't drawn to it. And like coach said, I think the Nigerian team didn't go to the coach, to the referee to insist that, look, you have to go check at VAR, and then the game just moved on. What human dimension is it to VAR? Because I don't think it's just the computer alone. I think there's some human dimension to it.
Well, I think you're very right, sir. The truth is that you will just, whatever game you're playing, you just trust God to have the right person by the back. Screen whatever thing that's going on here. Just trust God to have the right person there, because even in this tournament we have seen some faults, even from VAR, that you say that this is obviously not a goal, this is probably an offside. But whatever, and it's amazing because whatever VAR says now, it's just final. And we forget the fact that even behind the VAR is a human being who is looking at this and saying stuff.
Before we leave this VAR issue, there was one match, I think it was Tunisia played against, I can't remember who they played, and there was this referee that ended the match early before time. And then not just that, I think VAR made some calls, and they said, no, I don't care what VAR says, and the guy just moved on his own. Isn't that really, by the way, I don't know if you read the report, the guy said that God asked him to end the match on time. And if he had not ended the match on time, then he would have died on the field.
So that's actually a good question for you.
Anyway. Well, Pastor, those days when we were playing also, they always tell you, they said, play against the referee. Play with the referee. Don't decide that, referee have to do everything for you. When you play, just go out and play with the referee. Can't referee to be against you. Don't think referee, because they're women. The VAR too, they're women there. They can decide, maybe they cannot see it, or they just decide, let it go. But just play against them and just continue playing.
We're talking soccer or football, as some of you may know it, but that's the same way basketball is. They play with the referee as well. Yeah, that's the same way. I'd like to ask you, Coach, now, should we be worried about VAR? Now, we've seen the different dimensions to this. It's a computer. It's something built by human, and there's some human intervention to this. Coach, should we be worried? Because by the time the whistle goes off for the final, right, you only have one opportunity, one moment, and that's it. Once it's called, it's called. We can't give the trophy to either Senegal or to Egypt and go back and recall it and change things. Should we be worried?
We should not be worried. It's the same thing I just said now. You have to play and complete it. Either the VAR or the referee, just make sure you complete and finish, because they can decide your destiny. They can decide who wins or not. So you just have to play. We should not be worried about it. We should just play your soccer and continue.
Thank you. Tunde Lemero, you've said it all about the human intervention side. I play, I'm not worried. But then I know evidently well the VAR the person behind the VAR made a wrong call. How do we address it?
And the Lord will fight for you.
But you know what I teach my children, my team, is that if a coach start yelling on referee or start putting their mind on VAR, the player will think, oh, we are doing something right, the VAR is bad, the referee is bad. So you should continue and play the game of soccer and leave the result for other referee and other stuff.
Awesome. It's been an amazing time just discussing soccer again. Please don't go anywhere. Stay back, relax, and just enjoy the ride with us. We'll be right back at Radiant Sports.
Absolutely.
In a world that is filled with filters and masks, we want to give you an unfiltered experience. Welcome to Sote.
Yes, Salt of the Earth podcast, a Christian podcast where we teach you how to apply the Word of God with wisdom into your everyday lives. If you're ready to take off the filters and learn how to be the salt of the earth, stay tuned to Sote.
Welcome back to Radiant Sports here at Kings Palace, Katy, Texas. Again, it's the finals of the Afcon 2021, played in 2022 between Senegal and Egypt. It's been an amazing, amazing time of analysis of football here in the house. Now, Tunde, just a quick question. Now the host country is not in the finals. Do you still expect there to be a huge turnout of crowd? Or do you think we're going to have folks flying from Senegal? Or, I mean, tickets are sold out now already, by the way. But do you still expect folks to come in from Senegal and or Egypt to watch the finals?
Yeah, I think we're still going to have a good number of people come out to watch because they're all going to come out, Cameroonians especially, to support Senegal, just for what Egypt did to them.
That's a good point.
That's the way it flows now.
So it's payback. It's payback. Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, I think, I'm personally proud of Cameroon hosting this tournament. I think overall they've done very well, and they should have their heads up, even though their team will not play in the final. The test of how well they've done will include how well they mobilize people to go to the stadium. They don't want an empty stadium. It might affect the opportunity to host another tournament if they don't go to the stadium.
But tickets should have been sold out by now, I guess.
That should be fine. You can have tickets and so sad.
But no, final is final.
Yeah.
People doesn't care. It's final. They want to see the celebration.
part of the
They want to see
experience.
the closing remark of everybody's final is final. People want to watch final. It depends on who we're playing.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Coach, Egypt played 120 minutes of tension soaked match against Cameroon, the host country, in the semi-final. Went into penalty shootout. It was a lot of tension. There are fewer days than Senegal minutes in their semi-final, but they beat Burkina Faso 3-1. It would appear as if Senegal will be fresher in the final than Egypt. Will that count?
And my people say that all the time. But for me as a coach, I think I'll prefer to just finish a game and go and play the final because I'm still in the system. I'm still ready to play. But the one that have 1 day rest, they might be a little bit laid back, say, okay, we'll prepare, we'll practice. It's different than when somebody just win a game. They're still in the mood of playing. But it's final. The energy is totally 101%. People is going all out. They have nothing to lose. They're going for final. They fight the battle.
But does that not give you the opportunity to sit down, simmer, and see what you've done wrong and prepare for the finals?
yes, as a coach, you look at what you've done wrong that you have to put on the table for your players. But guess what? The fresher one that just finished game, they have it in their mind, and we're going for other one. But the one that's already go to the board and say, okay, the semi-final, let's look at it, let's see what is going on. If they don't fight or put everything in, you might tell them anything in the dressing room, but if they don't go out there and do it, Egypt will be ahead of them.
Well, for me, I think getting into this final, and I completely agree with Coach, final is final. The fact that you qualified to get into the finals of the Afcon this year, they're going to just put in everything.
Okay, so hold your thought on that, and let's look at Egypt again. The coach, Carlos, got a red card. He's not going to be on the bench when the match, kicks off. Will that be a minus for it?
Honestly, I think so. Because if you look at how the guys really helped Egypt even to this point, and if you look at the games, and I keep going back to Nigerian games, the first game we had was we played against Egypt and we played against the coach. They marked out Mohamed Salah completely. Now, when Tunisia played against us, they played against our coach and against our team. They had 3 players. We were just so excited that we were going to play Tunisia, wanted to play again, but they had 2 to 3 players marking Moses Simon. So they played against the coach and against the team. And that was why he was so worried yesterday. And I'm sure he probably knew that if this match gets into penalties, he was going to win or something. So he was just running around, giving instructions. I hope the assistant coach knows what to do.
Well, okay, so Tunisia, if you remember, played against Super Eagles in Nigeria. The coach tested positive, to COVID-19, and he was not in the stadium.
Yep.
Wow.
And they went ahead and beat Nigeria still without a coach. Is it a matter of Tunisia having a better assistant coach, or is it that the coach was doing something from the hotel or telling them something from the hotel?
He probably has given instructions to assistant coach. Because looking at that match, it was a technical game. It was completely. They took out, our main. They were going into that competition without our main striker, so they knew those who were going to cause harm to them, and they just took them out of the game.
Okay, coach. I'm sorry to mention, you are a coach. You have a red card. You are not going to be on the bench for a game, but you have some assistant. What will you expect Carlos, the coach of Egypt, to do, knowing that he will not be on the bench?
I mean, the only thing he can do is talk to them in the dressing room, give them instructions what they need to do, and talk to his assistant. This is what I want to cover. And overall, the players know their coach is not going to be there. That gives them more power, more, energy to say, we're going to play for our coach. Because he has been helping them from the beginning, and they don't want to let him down. So a coach has to just give instruction to his assistant coach and talk to the player before the game and answer.
Two questions here, Coach. Could it also be share of luck if they win without a head coach? First question. And second question is, what if the assistant coach goes into this game and decides to write his own story, right? I want to write my own playbook. You'd be surprised, because this might just be the only opportunity for him to do this at the head coach level.
Okay, if that assistant coach do that, that would be bad, because this is the final. He has to listen to his.
No, but the coach is not there physically. You got to understand the momentum of the game. You got to understand the pace. Sometimes it's different when you watch from the hotel room than when you're actually on ground.
Okay,
how much freedom can he be given to succeed, to make certain plays?
Okay, let me bring it back to you. As a player, when we're playing, when you get to the field, whatever coach tells you to do is one thing. When you get on the field, it's another thing. That coach on the side might be telling us this and that, but we saw the situation on the field. We have to dance to that. It's not only just the coach. Sometimes, like you said, the coach of Tunisia had COVID, and they still play and won. So the same thing when you go into the final, you're going to block your hair and say, listen, it's me and the team, not the coach, because this is the last game.
And just to add to that, I imagine the coach of Senegal also telling the boys, don't disgrace me. Their coach,
it's not there.
It's not there.
So it's not about coach now, it's about the player.
Okay, all right. So let's take another side of this conversation. And today that will be to you again. Senegal was in the final in the last edition, 2019 in Egypt. So they're back in the final again, just within a space of, call it 3 years, about 2 editions back to back. Will that be an advantage? It's been a long time that Egypt played the final, but they are playing a team that's playing the final 2 times back to back.
I think it will be. By the way, I want to say a very big congratulations to Senegal to be in the finals back to back. No, it can only be a good team. And it's because they've stayed consistent, the same set of players. So I think it's going to be an advantage for them.
I would say getting to the final back to back is good organization. The players are there to fight for their country, and they did not do like, oh, last time we were there, it's just by luck we did not win it. But this time around, you can see the way they play because they still have the quality of the same player. And 90% of them are back. So that's why I give them more motivation to play better this Afcon.
Okay, we are very close to the match. In a few minutes, the final of Afcon 2021 between Senegal and Egypt will be taking place. But just before we get into that match, we have a few more points on analysis, but we have to take this short break right now. Go nowhere, we'll be back shortly.
The Children Ministry of the Redeemed Christian Church is coming out with the best of experience for your children and teenagers this spring. We are inviting our children and teenagers to a special spring break retreat theme, That I May Know Him. Date, March 13th through the 16th, 2022. Venue, Kapchoye. Registration for the King's Palace Child or Youth member, $300. For non-the King's Palace guest child or youth, $375. Children are from pre-K through 6th grade, and youths are from 7th through 12th grade. Come and enjoy inspiring and creative event focusing on the subtopic That I May Hear Him, with a case study focused on little Samuel and Daniel in the Bible. To register, visit www.rccgthekingspalace.org. For more information, call 832-338-7460. Bring your children for a fun-filled spring break experience that will transform their lives like never before.
You're welcome back, and it's still Redeemed Sports at the King's Palace TV. We've been analyzing the final match of Afcon 2021 between Senegal and Egypt. And we still have in the studio Coach Ade and Tunde Alimero, and of course my co-host, Dumeji. Dumeji, I think you want to ask the next question.
Yes, Coach. We've seen that Senegal's coach, Aliou Cissé, an ex-international just like you, played for Senegal. He's an indigenous coach. And if you remember our first conversation when we had the round of 16 analysis, we spent some time talking about the importance of youth sports and indigenous coach versus a foreign coach. Now he's taking this team to the World Cup back to back and to the World Cup, and now back to back in the African Cup of Nations final. Is this a proof that indigenous coaches understand the players and they can get better results than foreign coaches?
For me, I would say it's a proof to see the Africans do the best what they do better. Because if you say you go back to grassroots, people that's coaching them in the back grassroots, the Africans. It's not like they get a foreign coach to come and coach the young ones. It's the grassroots. And then when they get to the stage of going to Nations Cup, going to World Cup, why do you want to get them off and bring a foreign coach? I don't say foreign coach should not do the job. Foreign coach has come to Africa and do a great job. But for me, I would prefer, now we have more knowledge, more experience going outside to play, so why we don't use our knowledge for our country? I would support to have a regional coach.
Thank you, Coach. Tunde, is it a share of luck?
It's not.
We had the likes of Bonfi Joe, we had the likes of Westerhoff, like we did say before, Clemens Westerhoff from the Nigerian team in the past, and they did a great job, at least to that extent, right? I mean, should teams like this continue with indigenous coaches, looking at the success that Senegal's coach has brought to the country and the team?
No, I said it the last time, and I'm going to maintain that. I won't completely rule out the use of foreign coaches. But if you see a coach, like the Nigerian coach that we talked about, Iguavo, you should go with the Super Eagles. This same coach that has worked with Senegal team should just stick with them. Should stick with them because they are doing so well with him. So I think it's and like Coach Adi rightly said, I won't rule out foreign coaches because I know that some areas where maybe in the grassroots developmental and stages of children, but at this point, I give it to the African coaches.
Okay, so it's a matter of what fits. In some country, they might need foreign coaches, but wherever the opportunity exists for indigenous coaches and they are good enough to get the job done, we should get them in. That's what I'm hearing.
I have a quick question for Coach. You know, your son plays professionally. He plays overseas. Do you think non-African countries, let's say for example France, will get a foreign coach in, you know, maybe a Brazilian or an Egyptian coach?
Oh, they did. They have. I mean, some European countries have foreign coaches from different European countries to their country. Like UK, mostly they have some Portuguese coaches, and sometimes they have the indigenous to coach them. See, foreign coach is not something that is big of a deal. I mean, I don't rule it out. But if you know that your country has a talent and the grassroots is being done by the local coaches to the top, why not going? Why give the opportunity to do it? I can get back to like Stephen Keshi. I mean, this is one of the coaches that see that he has done a great job for Nigeria, from playing to Europe, and even coach African countries and get results. And come back to Nigeria and get the results. So what proof do you want again that African can do it?
Okay, let's change the subject a little bit. Today, I don't know. I think you must have seen the pairing of the World Cup, qualifier for Africa. It's going to be Senegal versus Egypt at the World Cup playoff. Is this interesting? You know, because certainly, unfortunately, so either of Mo Salah or Sadio Mane will miss the World Cup. The two of them cannot be there because Egypt will be playing Senegal and only one of them will be allowed in the World Cup. Now, we are seeing them play in Afcon final. Will it be a dress rehearsal? In other words, if you win Afcon, then you are the one going to the World Cup, or you can win Afcon and then lose out of World Cup. What do you think?
I think it's the second. You can win Afcon and lose World Cup.
Okay. All right. So whoever wins Afcon should not go to bed. Is what they're saying, because things can change during the playoffs. Coach, what do you think?
I will tell you things will change. The team that is going to win this Afcon will not go to World Cup.
Is that a prediction?
It's a prediction for me.
That is audacious.
Because, listen, if you beat me once, I will not let you beat me second time.
Fair enough.
Okay. So, well, I'll leave it at that. What else can I say? But anyway, so today, Samuel Eto'o, an ex-international, is now the FA president for Cameroon. For me, that really excites me. Yeah. I wish I could see a lot more of that. Would that be something you advocate for in other African countries?
Yeah, it's some. I think at some point, I can't remember when, there was a point that Okocha was the FA president for maybe Delta State, I can't remember. And even Amokachi last year or so was appointed as special advisor on sports too. But we want to see them in the main thing, the FA.
Okay, yeah. Good. I mean, Sheikh had made several attempts to be the FA president. I mean, most of the time he's been frustrated. He had pushed things through. It seems like politics is different from you being a soccer player. So if you're not a politician, all you know is just play the game, you might not have a chance. What do you think?
Well, Pastor, thank you for raising that. I'm happy for Samuel to be the FA president. I'm so happy because it's what we are talking about our coaches also, to use the local coach. We have to use our know about the game, about the sports, to be our FA chairman. It's still part of what we are talking about. It's the politics of it that make them not to make Segun Odegbami to be the FA president. Because they know Segun Odegbami will do the job. He plays the game. He knows the game. He knows the play. It's the same thing we talked about coaches. If Shegun Egbami have allowed to be FA chairman in Nigeria, this would have not been what we are talking about. It's still about the politics.
Okay, just in case you don't know Shegun Egbami, if you are born in the 90s or, or recently, Shegun Egbami, was an icon who played at the 1980 Afcon, scored 2 goals out of 3 when Nigeria won for the first time in Lagos, beating Algeria 3-0.
What was his nickname?
Mathematica.
There you go.
No, he was a prolific, winger. I mean, he dribbles you on the line.
Yep.
He could play at the center, and he scored some many great goals for Nigeria. Well, we're going to wait to see one day, maybe some of the ex-internationals, not just only in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I understand that even in Cote d'Ivoire, that Didier Drogba made attempts to be the FA president, but it never happened. Over the time, I think things will begin to change. I would hope, because I think there's an advantage in having ex-players. Having these, they know what goes on the field, they know what goes on in the locker room, they know what goes on in the mind of the players, and I think they are better prepared than just a regular politician being the president of the FA.
If I can add a little bit more, you can see in America, in Europe, the FA president in Europe or America, they are ex-international.
Yeah.
Everybody ex-international.
That's true. Well, we're about to bring this to a close because the match is only just a few minutes, to go, and we don't want to miss any part of the match. The most difficult question always is the question of prediction. Egypt versus Senegal. I'll start with you today.
Before you start with him, are we allowed to predict?
Of course, we will
There you go.
we will predict. What do you think? I remember what coach said. If you win Afcon,
You're not going to
World Cup. So what do you think?
I think we'll take it one step at a time. Yeah. For me, Senegal all the way.
Okay. So Senegal all the way. Coach?
For me, it's going to be Egypt all the way. Egypt 2, Senegal 1.
Oh, by the way, today, what do you mean Senegal all the way? Is that 3-0?
2-0.
2-0?
Wow, that's a bold statement.
No,
What
it's,
do you think?
At this point, I would like to support Coach. I'll say Egypt 2-1.
and Mo Salah is going to score a goal.
He'll score 1 at least.
He'll score
Yeah.
one.
Okay. I think, since we're all making predictions, I think the match will go to the extra time, 120 minutes.
Okay.
I think we might see a barren, 120 minutes, like we saw between Cameroon, and Egypt. When it gets to penalty, I have a feeling that Egypt will have a slight edge, having just, scored all their penalty kicks against Cameroon, and to that extent, I'll give it to Egypt.
Okay.
Awesome. I'd like to ask our chief host, Pastor, one final word. What advice do you have to a lot of young people just trying to get into the world of soccer? I know we have a few minutes to get into the finals.
Well, I think the most important lesson, to pick is the fact that everything is possible. You cannot bury your head and thinking you can't do it. If you envision it, you can do it. And for me, that's it. What you don't try, you failed already. You better have to try, and if it doesn't work, you try again, and then you try again, and then, sooner than later, you're going to make it. Look at Gambia.
Yep.
Gambia came to this tournament as the 158th rated team.
Yep.
Nobody gave them any chance. But they moved through into the second round. They won their match in the round of 16. They lost only at the quarterfinal. Nobody could believe that happened. So hey, maybe you are a Gambia, in stature, in life, in your own rating. Go for it. Because everything is possible. Especially if you're a child of God. Nothing should hold you back from giving the very, very best to anything at all that you envision possible. Well, on that note, we're going to draw the curtain on this edition of Redeemed Sports at the King's Palace TV. Coach, we can't thank you enough for coming again and again. And Tunde Almero, thank you very much for your thoughts. Thank you for being in the studio with us. Dimeji, any final words, subscription? And,
No, I think you said it all. Whatever you want to do as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Go ahead and just go get it, go get it, go get it.
Absolutely. Now, if you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do that just right now. And then until we come your way again, it's Redeem Sports as the King Spiders. Stay blessed.